All right, week 14, run the North. You already know, Jason, Will, talking Bears and Vikings. What a week! What a week! I had the pleasure of being at the Vikings game at US Bank Stadium. Jason, have you been to a game at US Bank yet?
Been to a couple
Okay.
preseason. Like first or second year, I think they played the Raiders, which is a welcome change from going to a playoff game or not playoff game, but just before the playoffs when they were playing at the Gopher Stadium, which is outside the year before. That was
Mm-hmm.
brutal. I was at the game a couple years ago when I think it was against the Cardinals, maybe, where the guy was crawling up the side of the beam in protest of
Oh,
whatever. Yeah, well, I
yeah.
was at that game.
Oh,
That was
incredible.
wild.
It's yeah, protesting
Um,
like the that pipeline that went through North Dakota, I think.
I think that's what it was. Yeah. He was on the other side from where we were, so he obviously couldn't see the sign.
Sure, sure.
And then I think I went to one other preseason game or two. Kels got some tickets for comped for work, and it was more of a networking thing anyway. And the football was bad. I think it might have been Ponder still. No,
Mm,
maybe not. It was brutal even for preseason. So,
yeah.
so yeah, couple concerts, bunch of events. How about you? How many games have you been to?
Me and Sal have gone to one every year for like pretty much since we started dating. So at least four with Sally, and then been to at least a couple outside of that. But I love US Bank. I love that stadium so much. Maybe
Yeah.
next year we go to the Bears Vikings game at US Bank. Could be an option. Could be the
I
move.
love that thought there. What's the most memorable game you've been to, you think, for the
Oh,
stadium?
the biggest comeback of all time against the Colts in
Oh, that's
NFL
right.
history.
Yes. I
That
remember
was
talking about
such a
that.
cool
Yes.
game. That was an incredible game. I was there. We get to halftime. The score's like 3-31 or something like that. We got people. Only time I've ever seen this at US Bank. People throwing stuff on the field because there was like two defensive touchdowns that the refs pulled back. Both of them were absolute bullshit calls. We got robbed of two touchdowns. People were throwing stuff like paper airplanes going on the field, and my whole philosophy is okay. We go into halftime and like anything that can happen in a half can be undone in the second half. And it's like, okay, if it's end of the third and we're still looking bad, maybe I'd leave. But I was like, okay, I'm gonna wait it out. Like
Mhm.
ton of people leave at halftime, including like seven drunk guys behind me and Sal and a couple of her friends. And yeah, then the comeback happened, and all these Colts fans that were just chirping us the entire first half, like, oh, it's too bad. I really like the Vikings though. Like you guys are great. Just watching them, their spirits just get crushed. It was fantastic. Great game.
Yeah, dude. That was
Yeah.
epic to watch, to be there. I mean, because we already know the bank is so damn loud. It's not great
Yes.
for concerts. I enjoy
No.
concerts there too, but when you get the horn going, and then you get
Hmm.
everybody doing this, as obnoxious as it is, it's like the energy is real, dude. And you can tell that they're piping in like the music between. It's just a different level of
Yeah.
juice, like even at other stadiums I've been to. So that is
It's a
not to
great
be
it's a
overused,
great live
electric.
environment. Yeah. Yeah. When there's
Yeah,
like
dude.
big third down conversion or touchdown, like just hearing 65,000, whatever it is, people all cheering at once is good time. Anyway,
Oh, hell yeah.
I'll
Well,
get into
so
the
okay,
game.
so tell me where you're at though. So where were you sitting? Where were you watching this game? Because obviously we're primed for Falcons Vikes. Kirk Cousins is coming back to play his old team that gave him all of this stupid amount of guaranteed money. He's had some shit games. The question of is Penix going to play or not because he just came off a 4-pick game for Cousins. I mean, this could have been trap game. Maybe they're trying to keep their playoff hopes alive. Who knows? So where are
Yo,
you sitting first off, and what's the vibe of the people you're sitting by?
yeah, I mean, I felt the trap game vibes for sure. I felt like maybe this is a get right game for Kirk. It's a, hey, I know Brian Flores. I'm motivated to show the team that moved on from me that they made the wrong decision. I definitely felt that coming. I was worried after the first half. I think at halftime we're tied like 21-21, right around there, 21-23 maybe.
Mhm.
And we just weren't able to get to Kirk. I think I was talking to you about that last week. I was like, keys to success, we got to get Kirk on the ground. And we just were not able to get to him. And he was picking apart the defense a little bit. I was a little worried. Um, so when I go to US Bank, typically we just buy cheapo seats and then we go stand in the
Yeah.
standing room area, like by the two big screens on either side of the end zone. Crowd around us was pretty chill. Like we were just standing behind a dude and his young son, because it was very easy to look over the young son and watch the game, which was nice. Did meet a lady with my CJ Ham jersey. Apparently, she's like CJ Ham's best friend, and she was like, "Hey, I like your jersey. He's like my best friend." That was kind of cool.
Also a nominee for Walter Payton Man of the Year this year.
That's right. And him and I guess I should say his family led the second half Skull chants. It was like a good day to be a CJ Ham fan. He picks up a fumble recovery in the second half.
Huge. That
was cool. It was cool. But yeah, getting into the game, like I said, Kirk kind of lightened us up in the first half. I kept turning to Sally and saying, "Get him on the ground. Get him," because I know if he gets his bell rung once or twice, if he gets hurried, he's just not the same quarterback. If he doesn't think he has the time, he gets panicky. He never was a mobile quarterback, and especially this year, he's 36 years old, coming off a torn Achilles. You knew if he felt threatened in that pocket, it was going to be a bad day for him. Unfortunately, he did not feel that threatened. I want to say we only got one sack on the day, maybe a second one after I left. We left, I think, with like 5 minutes in the fourth quarter. Once we went ahead by like 2 scores. Couldn't really get after Kirk in the first quarter. Offense looked pretty decent. I forget the exact order of the touchdowns, but we had at least one sort of fluky touchdown in the first quarter. Long bomb to, I want to say, Addison. That was like kind of underthrown, but worked out. Then the second half, the offense turns it on. Sammy D is using the legs. He's getting out of trouble in the pocket. Something I've been looking for all year, something I've been like saying is when he uses his legs and creates plays, that's when he's at his best. And you really saw it yesterday.
Yeah, he was moving around.
Some of the passes were pretty fluky, I think, as you noticed and you called out. Lots of underthrown balls. One of them, like his arm gets hit. Receiver catches it. Regardless, that other one, I think that play has been shown to death at this point. The long bomb to Jefferson, where the defensive back just gets completely lost, gets turned around, just gets lost in Jefferson's aura, ends up falling over while Jefferson standing stock still for like 3 seconds, and the ball just lands in his lap. Kind of fluky, but like, hey, we'll take a 52-yard touchdown.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, offense kind of.
To that end, though, it was all of their big plays were coming on underthrown balls. So not the idea of talking shit about it. It's like, wow, that's an under one to Addison. Oh, that's an underthrown ball for 38 yards. That's an underthrown ball to JJ for a good gain there. Oh, there's a touchdown underthrown. Oh, there's another touchdown underthrown. Like just the fact that they had to come back to the ball, and that really justified his contract. Hopefully Addison gets paid too, because again, adjusting to the ball is something a lot of average to below can't do or don't do.
Yeah.
And also the flip side of that are not trusted to do, so those balls don't really get thrown. So pretty cool.
Yeah, and definitely one of those games where we've been waiting for it all season, where we really get to see that marquee, like, this offense that's been talked about as one of the greatest. You got a great coach in KOC, and you have Jefferson and all these pass catchers, and you finally see like what they're capable of with these crazy stat lines from Jefferson and Jordan Addison, just kind of harkening back to Moss and Carter days. Maybe I'm being a little premature, but they made plays that, to your point, just a guy wide receivers don't make. Like Jefferson's, was it his first or his, whichever touchdown was his shorter touchdown, he made a great grab, like great catch on the ball, like one that not a lot of people make. I mean, they both just really showed their talent and like what this offense can be capable of when we're actually able to feed the ball to these two really, really outstanding wide receivers. So that was fun. You look back a few weeks ago, there's a couple weeks where we were squeaking by with wins, mostly on our defense, and like our top receiver is Josh Oliver, our TE2, and Aaron Jones they have more receptions than Addison and Jefferson, and it's just like nice to have this game we've all been waiting for, where it's like, yes, we have this great wide receiver duo, and like just totally torch their secondary with it. So yeah, it was great to see that. Nice to see the offense come alive a little bit. Defense has had better days, but they got the takeaways when we needed them. Byron Murphy had that pretty sweet one-handed interception. Metellus has good interception. Another great touchdown celebration with Cam Bynum. I saw him on Good Morning America now for like the second time this season. Yeah, them doing their touchdown celebration, which, you know what, more media exposure for us is great. I think the NFL conspiracy theory, like if it's a popular team, I think the NFL helps them out. If it's like, even if it's something stupid like, hey, look at all these people that like the Vikings because they're silly touchdown celebrate or like interception celebrations. I certainly
getting the guys going.
Exactly. So they pulled it together in the second half. First half, it was a little concerning, like didn't feel great, but that second half performance was very reassuring, and they played like the team that they can be and the team that they're going to need to be if they want to make any noise in the playoffs.
Oh, 100%. Not that they'll be able to replicate this offensively, but really just to your point of finally you got defense was playing fine. They only gave up 3 scores, which is not crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But the offense really showed up when they needed it to and kind of quote unquote bailed the defense out. And that was like their signature win as opposed to like you're talking about all these squeak bys, a couple of 1-pointers, or, blowout games because there was a defensive score or, ridiculous amount of turnovers with short fields. So yeah, that's got to feel good, especially as we're week 14 going into 15. You got a couple division games left as you're fighting for seeding. First might not be likely, still could be as far as like the division. But I mean, knowing that you're probably going to have a home playoff game or not going to have a home playoff game, not going to have a home playoff game, you wanted to get as much momentum as you can now.
Yeah. Good time to heat up. Good time for the offense to start clicking. Which, start in week 14, they'll probably hit their skids right when playoff starts.
Yeah.
We'll see. But also like the offensive output was of a fluky nature. So like, I don't know how easily replicated these stat lines are going to be, which speaking of stat lines, I mean, Sam Darnold, crazy stat line there. What was it, 220, 240? No, actually it was like 300 yards, right? You just said this.
No, he had crushed it. He was 340. I'm sorry, that's Kirk. He had 347 and 5 touchdowns. He had 2 receivers. So Addison had 8 for 133 and 3 touchdowns. Jefferson had 7 for 132 and 2 touchdowns. Aaron Jones ran for 73 and a touch. So what's crazy is we talk about how phenomenal those stat lines were, but you look at the overall offense of both teams. Passing, Atlanta had 338 yards passing, 158 rushing for a total of 196. They actually produced more offensive yards than the Vikings did. So it's just really being able to finish drives and get in the end zone.
Yep. And, the Vikings winning the turnover battle had a huge impact on that. Like, a big reason why we didn't have to skirt by with a win this week. It's because we won the turnover battle, 2-0, 3-0? I think there might have been a turnover after I left the game. Honestly, I'm not sure how those last 5 minutes went. Fumble. Yeah. So obviously that's a huge help to the offense, especially when
pass interference calls too. So like they were penalized 12 penalties for 127 yards. So when you get over a football field in penalty yardage, like that's a big deal too.
Yeah. But yeah, overall, good game, fun game to be at. Offense could clean some things up, but I like Sam Darnold using his legs. I liked him being aggressive, showcasing that big arm. Trying to think what else to say about that game. I mean, Kirk, we could talk about Kirk. He did dice up, to your point, he was dicing up our defense. I talked about this last week. This probably isn't the case, but it almost feels like Brian Flores is not getting exotic in his looks just because it's like, hey, we're fairly locked into our playoffs spot right now. Like, let's not show him anything too exotic that we might want to use in the playoffs. Let's use our base defense and try and win with that. Kind of what it felt like, shades of Donatel, where it's a lot of zone. Kirk he's a veteran quarterback. He knows where those soft spots in the zone are, and he was picking us apart quite a bit. So
I want to take that a step further because I think you're right on. In that conversation too, I think they were late third, early fourth quarter. Greg Olson was making the call. And he was saying something close to that. And I think you'll see where I'm going when I get into it a little bit. So he's basically saying he was sitting down with Flores talking about, all right, with these exotic blitzes, a lot of it's going to be either, a zone fire blitz where you're going to have less zones. You're just trying to really trap the quarterback into making a bad decision as opposed to,
Yep.
anything else. But a lot of those blitzes too, you end up doing zero man, and they're built to do zero man, but it's not sustainable all season. So
when
I
you say
want
zero
the
man,
guys,
explain that.
so it means you have enough defenders in pass defense to go one-on-one with zero safety help over the top. So
Got
it's
it.
truly one-on-one. It's not one-on-one with the safety behind you just in case
Yep.
you get beat. And so that means once every receiver and running back and tight end is manned up, everyone else is blitzing. And whether that's straight ahead or looping or something crazy or delay or off from the slot.
Yeah.
So it's a high risk, high reward opportunity for the defense. And so they want to do that all the time. It's not feasible to do it. So right now, to your point, practicing and getting refreshed on some of those things now, because they want to be able to know that they have the reps and the confidence to execute that when they need it. It's always in their back pocket. So I think that's just like the second part of where you were going based on what Greg was saying, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, for sure. I guess other notes on the defense, Stephon Gilmore out. I'm not sure what his injury is. I don't know that it's even been disclosed. I haven't seen anything about it.
I don't remember from the broadcast.
And you know what? I don't remember hearing his replacement's name get called once. I think his backup is a guy called Fabian Moreau, which I want to say we got off like the Raiders practice squad or something.
He got toasted last week, but there was nothing this week.
Yeah, so yeah, props to him.
And Shaq Griffin, or not Shaq Griffin. Yeah, Shaq Griffin.
Shaq Griffin, yep. I think he didn't get a pick today,
no,
did he?
Neither had a pick. They both had 4 tackles though. So the other thing I thought was interesting too is Cashman filling in well with the green dot with pace out.
Well, Cashman always has the green dot. He always has the green dot.
Oh, did he?
Yep.
Okay. Which that, obviously he missed some time too being hurt. So, I mean, it didn't seem like they were missing like too much. Cause yeah, the Falcons got their yards. Like Mooney had 142, Bijan had 92 and a touch rushing. He also had a couple catches. Like Ray McLeod was all over the place. Costly fumble, but all over the place. It didn't seem like they were a step behind in the middle of the defense. Mm-hmm. Part of that could be because they weren't pressured, and that's not really Atlanta's style. They run an offense very similar to what KOC does, and it's more of your slashing run as opposed to power run.
Yep.
So it was fun to see Cashman flying around. Did you have? So we talked about all these cool highlight plays, a couple of good turnovers. Did you have a favorite play or like one where the crowd wasn't in it and then all of a sudden that really flipped the fans in it, or was it really consistent? Like what was the fan energy moment where you're just like, oh, this is the hit I needed, let's go?
Honestly, I think a big turning point in that game was I can't remember exactly when it came, but it was that one-handed interception by Byron Murphy. It came that critical moment where like that really pushed us over the edge to like I think it happened when we were up by like 7 or we were up by a score. Maybe it was just 3. And that led to a drive where we go down and get a touch. And I mean, just the fact that, hey, it's your defensive back making a one-handed interception. Like, let's go. First of all, sweet play. And then just like a huge momentum shift. And it's like one of those it's just like the decisive, like a very, very decisive moment of the game that, more or less put a nail in the coffin there. I'll say outside of that, not so much of a fan moment, but this is a little teaser for someone I was going to give a mini crown to, but saw my guy Jalen Redmond popped up big. He had a big TFL again in that pivotal early second half where game could have gone either way, and he popped up with a big TFL. Dropped him, I think, for like a 2-yard loss on a run, and dude just came out of nowhere. He keeps making these splash plays the second week in a row. I want to say he might have had 2 tackles for a loss this game. Sure. I could be wrong, but it's just great to see this guy. I mean, he's making those splash plays. He's just showing up, and that was my favorite play when we made that, and then I saw it was Jalen Redmond. I was like, let's go. Like, yeah, I like this guy. Like, I love it when it's just like some guy you've never heard of starts making these big plays. I love the underdogs. I love the unsung heroes. So that might have been my favorite play.
Hell yeah. I had a feeling, and I was literally going back and forth. Should I text him? Should I not text him? He's at the game
about Jalen Redmond.
No, I was going to be the other side of that coin about, all right, the unsung hero part. Your guy was 6 for 6 on PATs, but he doinked a fucking field goal when it mattered.
Yeah,
Obviously, it didn't end up mattering, but man, it was such a. How loud was that gong?
it was quite loud. And yeah, I did wonder how that was going to affect him being out for a few weeks, and plus, like, he's back in the lineup, but like, is his leg healthy? I'm not even really sure what his issue was. Like, it was a hamstring kind of tight,
Okay.
like a strain, or I don't know. But I kind of figured he'd be like a little shaky. Seemed like his like it's one of those injuries where maybe you're not 100%, but you're good enough to come back, or like you're not you're not injured enough to continue taking up a roster spot type deal. So
Right. And can I plant and follow through? Right.
yeah. So at least he got the extra points in. Not too concerned about it. But yeah, when that happened, I was like, God dang it! Like, because then I was worried more misses were gonna come, and then it was gonna be the end of my prince, my sweet prince. Yes,
for sure.
Yeah, the fans are all gonna be screaming for John Parker Romo back.
Oh, geez.
Which I'm saying, has he gotten signed by the Ravens yet? I figured as soon as we dropped him,
that'd be
the Ravens would pick him up.
I'll see. What was it, John Parker Romo? I'll look that up real quick.
Yeah,
and
he
while
did good.
Doing that, I'm going to ask you to think of your 3-worder, and it can't be "Let's go Redmond."
No, I got. Are you ready for the 3 words?
I'm ready when you are.
3 words. Where was that? In reference to the offense for the last like 8 weeks. Like, where was that? I feel like we have not seen that since the first like 3-4 weeks of the season, where we were like blowing out legitimate good competition, and Sam Darnold looked incredible. He's just been kind of flailing since then. Sam Darnold looked more poised and in control. This is I mean, probably safe to say his best game as a Viking, if not in his NFL career. 5 touchdowns. I think I saw this. That was the first time Vikings quarterback has had 5 touchdowns since Culpepper, which is surprising. I'm surprised really? Kirk never had a 5 touchdown game. Yeah, even like that big comeback against the Colts a couple years ago. I'm surprised that wasn't a 5 tutty game. But yeah, Darnold, first Vikings QB with 5 tutties since I think they said it was like the year 2000, so like at least 20 years.
Well, we knew, what was it? We knew Brad Johnson wasn't gonna. We knew Ponder wasn't gonna. Teddy probably wasn't.
Yeah.
Who else has been quarterback there other than Kirk, right? I mean, anybody like
Favre.
Jackson?
Favre.
Is that gonna? Oh, Favre. Okay. Excuse me. Joe Webb, like,
no.
Who's gonna be the
Donovan
guy to do
McNabb.
that? So my buddies in college were huge Joe Webb guys.
Really?
Donovan McNabb. Oh my gosh, dude. I completely forgot about that.
That was sad. I don't even remember how many weeks he started. It might have been like 3 or 4, but it was a sad couple weeks.
Yeah, probably 4 too many, right?
Yeah. Yep.
That was brutal. So, all right. Any closing thoughts? I think we're going to hold on to keys to the next week's game because we play each other next week.
Yes.
What other thoughts you have about the Atlanta Vikings game?
Not much. It was exactly kind of what you wanted to see. The offense had a big game. Defense showed up. Kirk did not get the best of us, which would have been a little sad. Kirk did get booed, for the record. He did get booed when they first showed him on the big TV.
Really?
He did. I didn't boo him, but like, you knew there were going to be more people that wanted, even for people that were fans of him, which I was. Like, I wasn't going to cheer for him. I would listen to the boos, but I wasn't gonna cheer for him. So he did get booed. Yeah. Glad to see he didn't beat us. That would have led to some serious, like that would have been bad for morale. If Kurt came in and torched us and won the game, that would have been bad for morale. But no, otherwise just another feather in the hat. Brings the Vikings up to 11-2. 11-2. Gosh, yeah. If you told me we'd be sitting at 11-2. At the beginning of the year, I would be shocked. I would be very surprised, but I'll take it.
Yeah, it's a good place to be.
Yeah, crazy.
And I just found too, John Parker Romo was waived yesterday, so he hasn't signed with anybody yet.
Gotcha.
All right, well,
Bears time.
Then I think that's my moment to take the mic. So the Bears played the Niners, who were completely depleted out in California.
Yeah, who are they
They
missing?
lost.
Let's read through that list. Who are they missing?
They lost 38-13, and it's a good thing Purdy was banged up in that game. They were missing Trent Williams. They were missing uh what's
Nick
his name? The
Bosa.
pass rusher, Nick Bosa. They were missing Brandon Ayuk. They were missing Christian McCaffrey. They're missing Jordan Mason. So I'm sure they're missing more, but I mean, really, I just listed off 5 Pro Bowlers, 6 Pro Bowlers. Like, okay. So it's a good thing they were there. Otherwise, this could have been bad, which is only said facetiously because it was bad.
Yeah.
Like bad. So I'm going to start off with my 3-word, and it's, whenever you get verbed, like shit's bad. It always was Lions gonna lion. Well, this week, it's Bears gonna bear.
Bears gonna bear.
You had the potential for the new interim coach bump. We like that he's got Tomlin vibes in the way he carries himself. He's saying all the right things. I mean, the one that got me most excited wasn't about the accountability, execution, wasn't about consistency, wasn't his demeanor, his aura. It was football fortunes those who play the game violently. And I tell you,
did he say that?
Yeah, he said that on Friday. Thursday or Friday. I was rock fucking hard for 3 days. Because amen, brother, hell yes. And that is like the most Chicago football thing you can say. And the way that he said it was very like, yeah, no shit, matter of fact. It wasn't in
a rah-rah.
The Bears of the Midway. Yeah, I wasn't pandering. Wasn't trying to get you people going. It was just, this is what it is. This is what the mantra we're going to embrace, and they're going to come out. And they come out and just fucking bent over, dude. Absolutely no violence at all. They gave up more explosive plays, which is 20 plus, than we've given up all year. They gave up 5 on the first drive.
Wait, are you saying they gave up more explosive plays of 20 plus yards in this game than all of the year combined? Or just
they haven't any other game.
Okay. Not as bad, but still pretty bad.
Yeah, you're in the first quarter. It was 12 minutes. Okay, so 15 minutes is a quarter. 18 minutes of game time has passed, and George Kittle already had 100 receiving yards.
Yeah.
Your linebackers are the strength of your defense because we know for shit it's not your pass rush.
Even with Montez Sweat and who's the other guy you got opposite Montez Sweat?
Nobody. It's nobody. And then, yeah, it's okay. Defensive coach got fired when the fan base, who was such piss and vitriol to get him out the last 5-6 weeks. Literally, the first tweet I saw on Twitter right after texting you was just like, "So where's Matt Eberflus? Like, why did we get rid of him?
Yeah,
maybe you know what?
We need to get a defensive-minded head coach."
Yeah, our next coaching shirt, we should consider him because somehow he had this team at 4-2 at one point. It's like, oh my god. So you have a guy, our defensive coordinator now, well, he was then, calling the plays now, is known for being aggressive and liking a pass rush. He did jack shit. He got picked apart in the most vanilla defense we've seen. Offense went nowhere. They gave up 320 yards in defense. It ended up being 319 because Purdy knelt going into the half. 2-9. Actually, I think it was 7 because we had negative yards or something like that. 9 yards of offense through a half. We had the same issue against the Lions. We came out second half. Did not happen this week. X's and O's, like, really, who fucking cares? They're not executing. The center gets embarrassed. The offensive line is absolutely terrible. They gave up another 7 sacks. Caleb statistically had a good game. Wasn't given much. He threw 2 touchdowns to Roma Dunze, which I guess was fun. But so Roma Dunze was dancing after his 2 touchdowns. He's a character guy, but like, dude, you just gotta know get off the fucking field.
Yeah.
Same thing with Owens. He had a pick late. It's like he kind of was like looking around. Are we gonna go to the end zone and dance? I was like, dude, you're down by 30 fucking points. You just got
don't celebrate after that one.
Don't be doing that. So
it's like, but we practiced it all week. I mean, so we're not gonna do we're not doing the dance. Okay, we'll go to the sideline then. Okay,
there looked to be more coordination in that dance than any of their run fits on all the plays of that day, dude. Okay, so I'm kind of coming out of the game and into just like
more. If I were you, I'd be thinking about the offseason at this point.
Oh, no question. And so that's kind of where I'm transitioning to, and I'm going to use it as a segue. Before the game, during the week, I was probably midweek. somebody's podcast. Greg Olson is doing an interview. I might have sent it to you. I might not have. I know I sent it to my brother. And he's just talking about situational coaching and analytics. And he's not an analytics guy, but like us, he agrees it's not going anywhere. And they started to
Mhm.
go in as to why is because the margin of these games, like rarely do you have a blowout, which is even more embarrassing for us. Most of the time, it's a one score, two score game, not three, four,
Mhm.
five. But to make those score games so close, like it comes down to like your entire season is 15 or 20 plays.
Mm.
And the execution of
Mm.
those plays or the decisions of how to manage those plays.
Ooh.
It's really that's how razor thin these margins are. To
That's
use
an
his
interesting thought. I
comparison.
haven't thought about that before. Yeah, where like your season does come down to just like a few select plays that truly decide the outcome of games.
So yeah, and the example is the Bears. Prior to this game, the last 3 games were against division opponents, tops in the league. 3 games lost by a total of 4 points on 4 plays because we didn't go for it in the Green Bay game to advance the ball before a kick. It got blocked because it came out low trajectory. So then you want to add a 4th game of 5 plays and then couple 9 points is because we did play uh, prevent you from winning defense the play before the fail Mary that gave him the 13 yards.
Mm-hmm.
So it's all just situationally fucked. So I just named 7 plays that gave up 10 points and cost you 4 games. If we're not 4 games right now, we're 8-5. And we are right there with the Packers fighting for another playoff spot.
Yeah.
So all the way, and I know, I understand some of those aren't going to go your way anyway. And there's 2 games that we won that went the same way that could have gone the other way. I understand that. It's more just the idea of, again, and that's another 2 plays, right? So now we're talking about your season on 12 plays and a total of 6 games decided by 12 plays and 15 points.
Mm.
So all that to say, the Bears are going to bear. Fuck them all. Nothing matters until the ownership changes to where I'm going to go with my first jerk reaction is going to be Bezos needs to buy the team. I don't know who else would be in competition because Walmart's already got a team. Maybe the fucking owner of Costco. They
Dude,
got money.
Elon.
Maybe he'll go buy the team. Elon is too busy saving America. Otherwise,
Dude, he's got to save the NFL next.
How efficiency would work. Gosh, I yeah,
tough.
So that's where I'm at.
Are there any whispers that the McCaskies are going to sell?
No, never.
No.
I think those conversations might consider starting when Virginia McCaskey dies. But the least they can do if they're not going to sell is like change chairmen, like show something that like, all right, George has been doing it for 20 years. We've seen one playoff game in 25 years, and he's just not getting it done. So the other one of the 3 brothers will take over, and just even that, it's just the change for change sakes because they're all way outdated, right? They're way just old school. Give me my check, da da da. So to that point, oftentimes good coaches, bad coaches, the coaching talking point, which is more just PR BS, is like, oh, we had a really good practice, we executed well, we're prepared. The culture is strong. The guys were really fighting together. Da, da, da. I don't want to hear another fucking word about either of those 2 things until you win a game.
You have some results. Yeah, exactly.
Just win a game because now, like last year, we had our losing streak was like 6 in a row. The year before that, we had a 14-game losing streak, which led us to the number 1 all pick, then a trade. Now we're on a 7-game slide, and we've lost 8 of our last 11 or something like that.
Yeah.
So up yours on the culture, dude. Like that's your culture is losing. So if you're going to sit here and lie to us, like we can just see as fans, like we're not that smart, but we're also definitely not that dumb. So I'm pretty much over it. So my other hot take is, I know I made the comment about Kingsbury earlier in the year being the coach just because it was so hot. Now it's faded because everyone's figured out that he's only a 1-read quarterback for now. I'm on the culture kick, and the only option I'm willing to entertain and feel kind of okay with, because I know they're not going to sell the team, which means ownership's not going to change. Yep. I'm fairly confident they're not going to fire Kevin Warren and that he's running the search. They're probably going to get rid of Poles. I think that's justified because you doubled down. Like, okay, so a GM usually gets 2 coaching hires. Well, you got your second coaching hire when you doubled down on Eberflus this year. Nothing to talk about.
See, I feel like Poles gets 1 more year. I think they give him a chance to bring in a new offensive-minded quarterback. and he'll be on the hot seat next year. I could be wrong. I'm betting that they give him one more year just because like it would also be Bears themed. It's like we haven't seen enough failure yet. We're gonna give him one more season to look like it, to make us look stupid.
But that would be so typical fucking Bears. And here's why. Like, so as a head coach, why would you want that? Why would you not want? Because it comes back to the misalignment again.
Yep.
You get the quarterback, then you fire your coach, you get a new coach, and then the GM's hired. And it's like, no. It starts with the GM. Then he hires a coach, and they together pick a quarterback. You're going again, third quarterback in a row in 15 years, where it's all misaligned. So you have a scapegoat coach, and then the GM. It's just all backward, right? Mm-hmm. So if you're Ben Johnson, okay, I'm going to finish my point though. Is Vrabel's the only one I'm entertaining. He's not going to take shit.
Interesting.
That's the type, because we have like looking at our team, we have 8 captains. None of them are linemen, offense or defense. You have none of them are an asshole. Like to the point where no, I'm done talking this shit. Like Jalen Johnson's not a captain, but he's the one that got essentially said something
fired
to get him fired. Like someone had to do it. No one was going to do it because you don't have that guy. You know, in 85, we had 10 of those guys on 11-man defense. And then you had 5 of them on offense. Like it's just, and then your coach was a prick because they're football guys who know football. So that's why I'm going with Vrabel.
Even though he's a defensive coach.
Don't care. He's a CEO technically with a defensive slant. But I mean, really, it's this bullshit culture is just like termites, man. You can't build anything. We're 3 years into a rebuild and we're getting worse, dude.
Okay, I want to stop there because this graphic you sent is so interesting because I didn't think about this in regards to this whole theme of the Bears fleecing the Panthers for that pick that ended up being Caleb Williams. And since that trade, they are still the 2 worst teams in football. That is, the context is so funny because it just was that trade was widely panned by the Panthers.
And Bryce is starting to play good.
And now people are saying are flip flop. Now they're like, oh, who flees who? Bryce Young is starting to look good. Bears are still Bearsing.
Right.
Funny.
Yeah, because you think about it, the tackle we got, he's regressing. Tyreek Stevenson, Fail Mary, he blew it. We used that second round pick on that draft guy to draft him. I mean, dude.
Tough. One thing on Ryan Poles, what I was going to bring up on him was what's interesting was he was hired the same offseason as Kwesi. And at the time, I really wanted Poles. When you guys got Poles, I was very disappointed. I was like, damn. Like, he's an offensive line guy. He seems like a no bullshit kind of guy. I really liked him. And Kwesi's whole, like, Moneyball aura, I was like, I don't know. Wasn't so sure. So it's just kind of funny how it's played out. And I was even really sold in because he sort of went for that, like, hard rebuild that at the time, as a Vikings fan, I really wanted us to go do. It's like, hey, let's cut all the dead weight. Let's have a year where we're young and inexperienced and probably not very good, but let's take all those cap savings. Let's get some good draft picks, and let's start building from there. Which is what you guys did, right? You know, you made some big splashy free agent acquisitions.
Great. He got rid of all the dudes that needed to get rid of. He fixed the books. He whiffed on just about every free agent signing. And guess what? Now no one wants to come here. And so I'm going to take back that point where the players don't want to come here. So that's even more reason why the next coach, and so I'm using Ben Johnson as the example here, because again, Vrabel could very well ask these questions. To your point of extend Ryan Poles or he gets another year or anything in between, why would I want to come in as a coach for 3, 4, 5 years to a mess, also tied to a guy who wants to save his job, but he might not be here next year. And then when somebody else gets in, I might get fired. Just because I'm not their guy, and they want to. It's
going to be a bunch of guys just chasing a paycheck.
Well, okay, yeah, but that's not what. If you do that, you're probably not getting another coaching job, though.
Oh, you're talking about coaches as opposed to players.
Yeah. So if I'm a coach coming in, and I've got the quarterback that I didn't draft, but you know he's only the first year, and it's Caleb. Okay, I like it, but then my boss might not be here next year, and then everything else gets reset anyway because everyone gets to play the game. Well, it's not my guy; I get to do it, and then you're just prolonging the fucked upness, which is exactly the conversation we had when we knew we had Caleb, and you can't let Flus back in the door. On top of that, you have that horrendous press conference when Warren and Poles went out there. It's like, it's clear Kevin Warren's in charge of this. And he said the right things, but I mean, he's fucking power suit ready to go, and fucking Poles is sitting there like a shaved tail of Louis. And it's like, okay, that would terrify me as a coach, because why the fuck would I want the guy who's building the stadium in charge of football operations? If you put a good product on the field, people will pay and people will come to watch, and winning fixes all the problems.
Damn straight.
It's not that complicated, but again, you just don't fucking care. Dumbasses keep paying the money to come to these games and support and buy the memorabilia and all this shit, which again, moratorium on my family, both sides. Do not buy a fucking Bears thing all ever. And it's they've gotten away from it. And they just don't seem to care about the feedback. No, you shouldn't let the fans run the organization. Correct. But if it walks like a duck, shits like a duck, talks like a duck, flies like a duck, it's not a golden goose.
Yeah. Well, it seems like the McCaskies, seems like they just have their head in the sand. They're probably not plugged into the public's opinion at all. They're probably just looking at the old ledger, seeing that they're making money, things are chugging along. There hasn't been any. There's been no PR scandals.
They are plugged in. They've hired people to solve these problems in whatever board management things. They've also had local media podcasters there who have they listen to the shows. I know for a fact the front office listens to the shows. George has met the people that I listen to the podcast to. Ian Cunningham, our assistant GMs, actually come out and said to some of these podcasters, hey, we like it. Keep it coming, because someone has to hold us accountable. That wasn't a shot at the McCaskies. It was just more like in general. Like, we're listening to you all because we understand what this is. To the fan base, and the fans are important, because without the fans, there is no. It's like, well, okay, at least you're at least saying the shit in a believable manner. So I want what this year has done is really stripped away all of the facade and bullshit we've been saying for 25 years, which really should have been since the Super Bowl. The McCaskies are the reason this culture sucks. That they can't get ahead of themselves. That no matter what they do, they just brought in a transcendent quarterback with a high-named offensive coordinator. Fucking terrible. They've had, their defense is top 5, getting worse.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just because they hired the wrong coach. It's in the
culture,
walls, man. It's in the walls.
So going back in time. Sorry, didn't mean to cut you off. Finish your thought.
No, I was saying that's really all I got to say about that, and that's why the rest of this year, even if we win games, it's going to be a really short conversation for me until. You can see a change, because it's so Bears. Like, they did not show up for Thomas Brown.
No,
they did not.
Well, okay,
not even an effort.
And I heard this term. I haven't heard this term before, but I've known this phenomenon where, like, okay, you fire the head coach, and then the next game the team comes out, plays hard, and they win. I heard that referred to a dead cat bounce. Have you ever heard of this phrase?
No, I thought you were going to say the interim head coach bump.
No,
I heard the dead cat bounce.
Someone referred to it as a dead cat bounce. I was wondering if that's like a football term that you knew. Guess not. Keep your eye out for it. One thing
I know it was a game back in the day on your phone where you'd like throw the cat out of the slingshot and like.
Cat cannon or kitty cannon or something like that. Yeah.
That's about all I know.
Way throwback. That's fantastic.
Pre-COVID, it's a whole different generation.
Yeah. So going back to pre-draft, I remember there were rumors that Caleb Williams' dad was basically saying, like, hey, he's not going to Chicago because presumably for some of these issues. Can you confirm that those were like rumors?
They are rumors for sure. I don't know how valid they are, but there's.
It started to seem like they would be valid if they were true, but it does make you wonder how much Caleb knew about this kind of stuff beforehand.
Well, there's rumors about that, especially this conversation was going around our local media in Chicago when last week when they fired Flus, because they're talking. I was like, well, yeah, Caleb Williams is not an idiot. He's about his brand. He's about his talent. He's about his legacy. He wants to be a winner, not just get his money. Yeah. And so with that, he's starting to understand. It's like, okay, it sounds like in that pre-draft thing, Caleb had to perform well in those interviews, but also he's trying to understand. It's like, all right, is Flus really the guy I want to play for? And Poles is trying to convince him. And, I don't have a confirmation on that, but that's what all the podcasters are saying. They know people that were talking about that at the combine. And it's like, that is damning.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know.
Okay, one more
I gotta
question. Oh, go ahead.
fire.
One more question. Already looking ahead to the offseason. Bears probably projecting towards a top 10 pick. What's the grocery list looking like in the offseason as far as free agents, rookie? What are you going after first in free agency? What are you looking at for a rookie? Sounds like there's plenty
You
of
go get
things you
Trey
need.
Smith from the Chiefs. You pay him his $25 million. That's a right guard.
Mhm.
Badass motherfucker. After that,
Because you guys have
I
plenty
don't
of cap
care.
room this year, right?
We got about 80 million. So that's going to
That's a
be
good chunk.
top 5, top 10. Yeah.
Yeah.
But who cares if no one wants to come here, regardless of the coach and GM? So it's going to go get him and stop doing these fucking value buys. Like, spend some money this year. I'm not saying hamstring us with bad contracts like the last guy who was, from the Saints and they've got 10 years of money pushed out like that. I'm not saying do that. I like the Poles does just a fixed rate. All right, you're getting 4 years, $60 million. You're getting 15 each year. Like that's it. So go get Trey Smith. I can't imagine the Chiefs can pay him. So
yeah, now with that Mahomes contract, that's going to make paying anyone tough. And who's the big boy? They got DT, Chris Jones. Yeah. They just paid him this offseason.
So it's
shorter term. Yeah.
Well, because he's getting old too. But anyway, so I think that's only possible if Poles is around because they have the connection. Otherwise, why the fuck would you want to come here even for the money?
Yeah.
And then after that, you have 3 picks in the top 2 rounds, and I think you have 7 or 8 picks. I'm not exaggerating, and nor am I being facetious. Every single one of those picks should be offensive and defensive linemen.
Love it.
Fucking pick up a running back in free agency, get your third wide receiver in free agency, get a backup corner, backup safety, because we're going to need safeties. Because Jaquan Brisker still hasn't played from his concussion against the Jaguars half the season ago. So this
really?
is like his millionth concussion. Yeah, he's still on IR.
Oh, geez.
So, I mean, I'm not kidding when I say I would like to see a left tackle come first and then a pass rusher second. And that's obviously not picking BPA, best player available. And that's obviously not the way to do a draft, but you see the needs. They have skill talent. It's not elite, but it's very serviceable. And we've seen what these bad teams can do with an average O-line. Fucking Bryce Young is starting to perform a little bit because he has some understanding of the game and some time to throw. Not a lot, but some. So there's really nothing else to talk about. Both lines, we know this. It's cliche. Drive your side of the ball. If you can't control the trenches, there's nothing you can fucking do. We got against an average O-line without their all-pro, the Niners were working us on basic zone runs. They were not complicated schemes. We just got out fucking manhandled. So that's the entire offseason. I don't even think I care about any of this shit because ownership's not going to change. And it's going to get all worked up on paper because, again, this year they look great on paper.
You just wait and see. By the time offseason rolls around, you'll get that hope flowing again.
Oh, the blue balls will definitely take over my brain. For sure. By the time we'll be in March, and I'll be like, dude, give me one of those games. Caleb Williams an all-star. Let's go.
There you go. Yeah.
You got any more football games?
All right.
So I gave you the 3-word.
Bear's gonna bear.
We've got Cronums and hot takes and fantasy football to get to after we talk about week 15. Bears at Vikings on Monday night, primetime football. I'm going to go to you to talk for a minute because I'm talking myself. They might lose by 40 in that game. What are you thinking? What are you excited about? What are you worried about? What are you looking for?
I mean, based on last week, I think the Vikings just have to not shoot themselves in the foot. I don't think they need to overcomplicate things. It's like, I think you just let the Bears... Just let them do what they're doing right now. Don't try to what's the Sun Tzu thing? Like, don't interrupt your enemy when he's making a mistake. It's like 100%. Just let them play their, like, I don't think we have to do anything crazy exotic. As long as we don't make any boneheaded play like Sam Darnold throwing interceptions, Aaron Jones coughing the ball up. As long as we don't make any boneheaded plays, like this is, hate to say it, like the most confident I've gone into any game just based on seeing that lack of resurgence after you get rid of Eberflus. Like, you kind of assume you're going to see that, like, renewed energy, and wow, did they look flat last week. And I just really, usually I see, I think of it like 'Cause I think of trends, I think a little differently than other people in the NFL, where like teams will have a down week, and then next week people will say, "Oh, well, yeah, they're playing terribly right now." But I look at it from like a human psychology perspective of like, if you played like shit last week, you're going to be motivated to not play like shit next week. Is how I look at it. But
Yeah.
like, I think there's something else going on with those Bears, man. Like, they just seem so deflated. I don't think they have any motivation to come out
Yeah.
fight. I mean, maybe because it's a division game, but it's not like we're the Packers. You know,
The
I
only
don't. I just
motivation
don't.
they have is to put something on tape for next year for
Yeah,
the new coach or for a free agency to get your money. Because I mean, to your point, we just finished week 14. We're going into week 15. We played you guys week 12
no,
into
it's close.
overtime. And one, it feels like it was 6 months ago.
Yeah,
Just because that's how quick the league goes, but also all the bullshit we've been going back and forth. Like there's so many stories going on. It's just so typical Bears. The game, right, the week before Thanksgiving. We're in the first week of December, second week of December. Like it was 3 weeks ago. Feels like 6 months ago.
seems like a completely different team.
Bullshit.
Yeah,
But it absolutely feels like a completely different team. Like there's no fucking way we're taking it to the wire and losing by 3 points. And you're right. There's nothing really to play for anymore because we're the culture's fucked. I mean, even if they do somehow pull a hat, it's gonna be miraculous and like something like, oh, I didn't see that coming.
it's going to be more the Vikings
better.
losing the game. I think. Yeah, I don't think the Bears are going to come out and ball unless.
I agree.
One scenario I could see is like Caleb. Suddenly he just feels free. He's like, "Fuck it, I'm just going to start slinging this rock." Like, don't even care anymore. And then maybe it works. You know, it's one of those things where the less you care, the better you perform, type of deal. Like me in golf. As soon as I stop caring, I start hitting the ball straight. Could be one of those deals, but I think the Vikings.
He did that last game. He did that last game where he threw for 340 yards, 2 touchdowns. He had DJ Moore had 7 catches for 106 and a touch. Keenan Allen had a 9 for 86 and a touch. Kibet had 7 for 64. I mean, like they were slinging the pill. They were somehow picking up blitzes. I mean, that was a really fun game. But again, to your point, it doesn't seem like it's even the same team from 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So
what do you see?
That's all I got to say on that game anyway. No, I see that. I mean, really, we know, like, so the conversation about Thomas Brown being the interim coach after this game, the answer is no.
Yeah.
We'll see what they do in the next 4
like
because again, you still have a quarter of the season to go, which is a long fucking time, dude. You need to find something to build on. And like we were talking about earlier, like the tanking, yeah, it's great for the pick, but that's just not the psychology of a locker room. You need, again, no moral victories, but you need to be able to put together some momentum and strength for your core guys that are under contract and will be here.
Yeah.
Because you see, they're on another 7-game skid. They've lost 10 of their last 11. Like they need to show that they can do something. Like they were pushing for 500 last year because they had some continuity and they were fighting for something sort of. But like now, there's so much change. They have the excuse of coaches getting fired, which is what happened in the first year of Flus, where they had to fire almost the entire coaching staff. And you just got to for the core players, for Caleb and Rome on their rookie deals, something on any of the offensive line you're going to keep, and then the defensive guys, like you have Tremaine Edmonds for 2 more years at $20 million a year. Jalen Johnson's going to be here. What's the other guy? The 2 rookie corners, well, they're now second-year corners, are going to be here. Dexter is going to be here. So you need to see from and Montez Sweat. You got to see, I think next year is TJ Edwards' last contract year, but you got to see these guys like start gelling a little bit and just have something to point.
Have some fun.
Because I am excited in the sense like for the offseason in that it seems like every media outlet that I'm listening to, national and especially the local ones, there's 3 or 4 that I actually respect their opinions, and there's another 3 or 4 where you just, okay, who's throwing shit off the wall?
Yeah.
I feel like they're all on the same page and that their bullshit radar is maxed out. And
on the Bears?
Everything that says, yeah, it's like, okay, I'm not going to help you by feeding into this. Show me. What are you talking about? You have no track record. Like those logical, like business people conversations. Like, I'm not going to let you just tell me what it is and say, okay, it's yours. Like it's not just cynicism. It's okay, we should know better. So I'm not gonna like. There's even some reporters that were like saying that now. Oh, some people. Oh, I got the bump. Oh, they played the last 2 division games really good. I'm gonna pick the Bears over the Niners. I'm like, no fucking way.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's picking the Bears for the rest of the season. I know I'm not.
Well, you got Vikes, you got
Packers,
Seahawks, the
Lions.
playoff teams. You got the Lions, and you got the Packers to finish the game, the season. So yeah, what are we talking about, dude? Which again, what was that 4-12, 4-13? I mean, that'll get you a top 5 pick, but God Almighty, go draft another wide receiver. I mean, people are like, oh, tank for Travis Hunter. It's like, if you draft Travis Hunter,
Oh, he's going to be locker room cancer.
sure, I wasn't even going there, but it just shows you have no idea how to build a fucking team.
Oh, yeah.
But
That
yeah,
too.
no, we're already there. They're on fucking hospice right now. The chemos are, they just said, fuck it. They ripped the chemo out last week. It's
I think the
DOA,
best thing they
man.
can do is just
DOA.
go out there and try and have fun. Forget about the record. Forget
Shut
about
the
all the
fuck
bull.
up.
No, I'm saying they just got to go out
You
there
sound
and
like
play
my
football.
mother-in-law. Oh my god.
No, I know. I'm seriously like the best chances for them to win is go out there, forget about all the bullshit, go out there, just play the fucking game. Play the game because you love it.
Just go have fun, guys.
Yeah.
Fucking Christ. Yeah, I'm not paying you $40 million defensive end to go have fun. Okay, we're paying for results.
I'm not saying
here.
have fun, but like forget about the bullshit. Go out there and just play ball.
No, I'm
just go play ball.
God, yeah, it's because again, I guess at this point, if you're trying to beat a dead horse, I mean, you're just spinning your tires anyway. So whatever yeah, I mean, fuck it, try it. You've tried. We assume you've tried everything else, so
Yeah.
Fucking Friday Night Lights this thing. Forget the.
There you go.
Not Friday Night Lights. Varsity Blues this thing. Forget the coaching staff. Just let Caleb call the plays on offense. Let Tremaine Edmonds call it on defense, and just go.
Just while out
for you.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at it right now. The 7 p.m. kickoff on Monday night. Minnesota currently, and this is what, Monday night on the 9th. Currently have Minnesota favored by 6.5, which I think
feels
low.
about right.
I was gonna say like 8.5, 9.5. Anyway, then a 43.5 over under, which is fine. So I don't know. Right now, it shows Minnesota has a 71 chance of winning that game, which is kind of crazy. And I just wanted to do one more thing before we keep going. So looking at the per games, you guys are currently 9th in points scored on offense. Bears are 24th.
Mm-hmm.
Points allowed on defense, you're currently 6th. We're 10th, which that's only going to drop. Total yards on offense, we are the worst team in the league. Total yards on offense.
Oof.
We are the 30th team in the league passing yards. We are the 23rd team in the league rushing yards. You guys are the 8th passing offense, 17th rushing offense. Third down, you guys are 10th. We're 30th on offense. Fourth downs, 15th and 30th, or 15th and 17th. You guys being 15th. Time of possession, you guys are 12th. We're 15th. Defensively, total yards, we're 24th given up. You're 17th given up. Passing yards, we're 17th. You're 29th given up with 250, which again makes sense just for the style of defense that you play, not risk reward, but because you're ahead. Rushing yards, you are number 2 in rushing yards. That doesn't mean for scoring, but yeah, it's not going to be a fun one, man.
We'll see. You never know. Any given Sunday, right? Or Monday.
Sunday.
Hey, listen, silver lining, Vikings are terrible in primetime. Who knows? Maybe we blow it.
Yeah, you guys will be fine.
All right, do you want to talk around the North? I have nothing to say about the Lions or the Packers, honestly. Did they even play this week? Yeah, the Packers did. They played on Thursday. Did they play each other?
Detroit, yeah, Green Bay played Detroit, and it was like Green Bay was up early, and the Detroit came crawling back and beat them by 34-31. Josh Jacobs had 66 yards, but 3 touchdowns. I mean, Love didn't do much. And then Monty had 51 and a touch. Tim Patrick had 2 touchdowns, which is sweet. Gibbs had a receiving touchdown. Seems like it was just one of those mentally tough games from Goff. But yeah, I mean, they're cruising right now. Detroit is. They're 12-1. They have clinched the playoff spot. Minnesota's 11-2. They have not clinched yet. Green Bay's 9-4. 9-4 is the best wild card slot right now, so that puts them at the 5 seed. Around the league, Philly's 11-2, so they'd probably be the 2 seed right now if we were to end today. Washington's 8-5. Atlanta's 6-7 behind the 7-6 Tampa Bay, so they're probably not going to make it. And then Seattle's 8-5, leading the division. Rams are 7-6, which again, playing the Bills like that was something. I mean, with Stafford, they're
I
always.
think the Rams are dangerous. Yeah, Rams. I think they're the team you don't want to face in the wild card round for sure.
Yeah. So if the season ended today, Minnesota would be the 5, Green Bay would be the 6, and Washington would be the 7, with the Rams being 7-6, missing out, and everybody else is under 500 as of right now. I don't think. Yeah. So Cleveland, Jacksonville, Jets, Tennessee, Patriots, Vegas, all eliminated from the playoffs in the East. New York Giants are the only team mathematically eliminated from the NFC.
That's it.
Carolina at 3-10 still has a chance.
Crazy.
Chicago
hey, well,
at
listen. If the
still has a chance.
I was gonna say if the Panthers have a chance, then the Bears have a chance.
Well, don't forget we have Carolina's second-round pick this year. So if we get back-to-back second-round picks, how wild would that
That'd be kind of cool. Could do something fun there.
Trade up for like the 15th pick.
Yeah, there you go.
No, absolutely insane. You need so much help. You should trade down for like, you should have
couple
like,
thirds.
so if you get like, say you get like the 7th pick in the second round and the 10th, you should trade one of those back to get like the 25th pick in the second round and like another 2/3 or something. Like you should do something. At this point, it's all about quantity.
Stock the picks. Stock up on picks.
Like mid to high round picks, none of this 5th round bullshit. Like it really.
Yeah.
Okay. That's what we have about the North. Crownums, hot takes, and then fantasy football. Well, hot takes, I gave mine. Do you have any hot takes or knee jerks?
I do have a hot take. Mine is I still think there's a decent chance Vikings end up with the division. Lions are due for a skid.
That would be fun. I would like that.
I would like that. When we played the Lions, I think it must be in. If we're playing Bears in week 15, we must be playing Lions 16 or 17. Anyway, I would like the game for Vikings versus Lions to be impactful.
Yep. And it will be because 15 home versus Chicago, 16 at Seattle, 17 home versus Green Bay, which is the right before New Year's on the 29th, and then January 5th, noon game at Detroit. I'm hoping that game gets flexed to a primetime game.
Oh, it's gotta.
You close out the season at Detroit.
Yeah,
and that could be meaningful at that point.
That would be sweet. Yeah, I mean, because I think Vikings win out, and then if the Lions lose one more and then lose to us, that would put them at 3 losses, and we'd still have 2. So then we take that not only NFC North, but number 1 seed in. Well, maybe number 1 seed in the NFC if the Eagles also stumble.
Yeah, take it from a guy who's been burnt by something that looks good on paper. Don't get too excited.
I'm not putting too much stock there. I'm saying I could see it happening. Vikings are figuring out ways to win, and we had our 2-game skid earlier. I think it's very possible that the Lions could have a 2-game skid.
Love it. All right, who you crowning?
Obvious big one's got to be Sam Darnold. I'll how do you say? What? Give him his laurels. Give him his flowers. What's the saying?
Flowers.
Yeah, give him his flowers. Great. I mean, just great stat line. Weren't all pretty passes, but man, he played the most complete game we've seen out of him. He got sacked a few times in the first half, but used his legs to get out of some tricky situations, make big plays downfield, scrambled for some first downs, used that big arm of his. Overall, just looked poised, in control. Great game for him. Giving a mini crown to my boy Jalen Redmond, showing up on the tape again. Just love seeing these undrafted bouncing around team guys showing up in big ways. And then one more for Cam Bynum and Josh Metellus for doing celebrations that end up on Good Morning America and getting us a little more media attention.
Keep it going, because we want to definitely see that highlighted in the playoffs too. That's where that's really going to take off with some
big time
local recognition.
Absolutely. That'll do it for my crowns. Who do you got?
I've got 2. I'm going to crown 4th round pick for the Bears, Torrey Taylor, our punter.
The one that wasn't going to have to do too much of his job, according to Caleb.
Yeah,
what a cursed comment.
You nailed it. And so not often do I get excited to read punter stat lines, but he had 6 punts. One had a long of 60 yards. He had 2 inside the 20. So over 6 punts, he had an average of 52.7 yards
Ooh,
punting.
okay.
Yeah. Because like anything over 45 is respectable. But I mean, that's, dude, if he hadn't punted like that, it could have been way worse because we had a couple inside our own 20 where we're punting out. And that's when he nuked that 60-yarder. I was like, whoa, that guy's still backpedaling. I think, and especially because, in San Francisco, they get swirling winds as well, being right there in the bay. So that was cool. And then we'll see what the conspiracy theorists say on who done it. But my next crown is the guy that bought that plane sign flying over the Jets saying, Mr. Mara, fix this trash or fix this dumpster fire.
Yeah.
There's a theory that it was Malik Neighbors, but he's saying, no, it wasn't me. It wasn't me post game. There's also a theory that Mr. Mara himself bought it to give him a reason to fire the coach into the sun, if even though he doesn't want to, and same thing with the GM, because everyone thinks they're probably going to stay one more year, but he's trying to build more pressure so that it's like, hey, look, the fans want you gone. Fuck you guys, because why not? So those are the two theories out there. I haven't put a bunch into it, but the fact that somebody paid for that during the game, I'm looking at you, Bears fans. Someone mount up, figure out how much it costs, call somebody.
We already
did fire Flus. Let's do mercy killing. McCaskies, fire yourself, please.
There you go.
I'm tired of this shit.
Love it.
How are you sitting? So the Monday night game's going on, Cincinnati and Dallas. How are you sitting for playoffs right now? I know I've got Burrow and Higgins going. I've also got Rico Dowdle going. I've got 3 leagues. 1 I'm definitely in. 2 I could get in both, but I need a lot of help tonight. So how are you looking?
Yeah, honestly, a very unimpactful week for me, which is kind of surprising. Usually this is kind of like the make or break time of year. In my paid league, I think playoffs start tomorrow or next week, rather. Well, we're in week 14 now.
So 15, 16, 17, because nobody plays them 18 because of the
except my family league, which is ridiculous.
It's wild, dude.
So my paid league, main league, I've clinched playoffs, and the only thing I'm fighting for is a first round bye. But the 2 guys I would need to leapfrog that need to lose today are playing people that have been eliminated and just like aren't updating their roster. So I think that I'll make it to the playoffs. I'm not going to get my first round bye, but whatever. Work league, I'm eliminated, and then family league, I'm sort of on the bubble, but I think I'll be okay. There's 8 out of the 14 teams making into the playoffs. So sure. 6 people aren't going to make it. There's 2 people under 12 years old. There's 3 aunts, a girl that dropped DK Metcalf to waivers in like week 7 because he was like on bye and she just dropped him. So it's like, I think I'll get in the I think I'll make the bubble. Granted, me and Sally did do the thing. We were both 7-6 this week, and we played each other. And there's like 6 teams that are 7-6. And so we both benched all of our players because like, well, we'll take a tie and then we'll have tiebreakers over everyone. Right. Mostly just to cause drama. And
I want to see how that plays out, dude.
Oh, it got noticed. And then I was like, oh, okay, we won't collude like that. But that was funny. It looks like Sal's going to beat me though by a little bit after I let Jared Goff and Jahmyr Gibbs sit on my bench for like a combined 40 points on Thursday, because it wasn't found out until like Saturday that anyone called us out on it. Yeah. Because I was like, well, if no one calls us out, we can do it. But like, if they do, we should switch it back. I was mostly just doing it for attention, again, just to kind of get the text chain going a little bit, get people laughing or talking or whatever. But yeah, I did leave like 40 points on the bench because I didn't start Jahmyr Gibbs or Jared Goff on Thursday. But whatever. We got this big ugly trophy in our house. It's been there for 2 years, and Sally won 2 years ago. I won last year. So I'm not trying that hard because I know Sally wants to get rid of the thing. So we'll see.
Okay, fair. Good husband points.
Yeah. All right. But yeah, that's where I'm at in fantasy. So pretty low stakes week for me.
Fair enough. Well, that's what I have for this episode. We've kind of hit all my talking points. try not to keep it that depressing. So next week we will be watching the game together at your house because that's where the game's being hosted. And yeah, I'll try not to be too depressed while we're there.
All good. I just hope you took Tuesday off like me.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. No, yeah, it'll be fun. It'll be fun. I'll get some cocktails going. Haven't thought about a dinner menu, but if you got any got a hankering for anything or any dietary restrictions, let me. Okay, did Sally told me this. I didn't catch this. She said you don't eat vegetables. Is this because you don't like them or it's a diet thing?
It's been more of a diet thing and pesticides and just it's
fair.
I do eat them. I just don't eat a ton of them.
Yeah.
I've been doing a lot close carnivore stuff, and that's been helping me feel like a lot better.
Yeah.
But no, I'll eat whatever.
Okay.
The biggest thing for me has been like dairy products. Like they don't agree with me, but
oh yeah, I barely touch dairy at this point.
Oh yeah, no, but if something's got cheese on it, or we're doing ice cream tonight, yeah, I'm gonna do it. I'll deal with it. I'm a big boy, like
Cool.
It's just I don't want to sit somewhere for 4 hours going. Blah, blah, blah,
yeah, especially if you're pouring beer on the dairy, it's no fun.
Yeah, it's like I'm not gonna let this one rip here. Like I'm gonna explode first.
Yep. Yeah. Fair enough. Well, yeah, we're looking forward to it. Should be a fun night. And yeah, any last thoughts? Otherwise, we can wrap this one up.
Yeah, as always, bear down.
All right. Good talking to you, Jason. Run the North week 14. We'll see you guys next week.
We'll see you.